Hi, everybody. This is Saad for the Saad Truth. Numerous folks have been asking me to weigh in on the recently concluded Canadian federal elections, where Justin Trudeau's party uh, now holds the majority position. He'll take office very soon, and currently he's the Prime Minister designate. Uh, and so I thought to try to explain how Justin Trudeau might have achieved such a fantastic political victory, I'll refer back to a book chapter that I authored in 2003. The editors of the book in question had asked me to write about how evolutionary psychology might help us understand the manner by which people make voting decisions. How do they choose political leaders? And in the article, there are several uh, phenomena that I referred to that perfectly explain how someone like Justin Trudeau could come to power. And so the first point to note is that uh, people are generally cognitive misers, right? They're cognitively lazy, and certainly in the context of political choices, people don't sit there and engage in effortful deliberations about every key and important issue of each of the candidates. Rather, they look for one unique key selling proposition that they could um, stand behind, or they basically look at the image of the various candidates to try to decide who they like best. And so it's certainly not this effortful, deliberate, substantive cognitive process that they're engaging in. So some of the cues that they might use, as I argue in my book chapter, are evolutionary relevant markers. So, for example, how tall a candidate is. We know from American presidential elections that uh, many of the US presidents that have won have, on average, been taller than the general populace. We know that CEOs, on average, are taller than the general populace. And so, height is certainly an attractive phenotypic trait when we're choosing leaders. And so other ones might be how facially attractive, I mean, the facial symmetry, or how physically attractive a candidate is, right? Paul Tsongas, if some of you may remember him, or Ross Perot, or Dukakis, I could have predicted even before they ran that they would lose because they didn't have, if you like, the right look. As regrettable as that sounds, people make these types of decisions using these types of evolutionarily relevant cues. There is a phenomenon in social psychology known as the "what is beautiful is good" effect. And so if you take somebody who is beautiful, all sorts of halo uh, attributions are ascribed to that person based on the fact that they are merely beautiful. So they are, for example, perceived as being more intelligent simply because they are beautiful. And so now let me just mention one other cognitive reality that people use that might explain how Justin Trudeau came to power. There is a program of research by Gerd Gigerenzer and his colleagues where they looked at how people use what are called fast and frugal heuristics. This is part of the program known as ecological rationality. So most people use these, well, fast, quick shortcuts that are frugal, that are not cognitively effortful in making decisions. So, for example, the recognition heuristic, which Gigerenzer and his colleagues have documented, is a means by which people simply choose that which they recognize. So, if you show people a bunch of stocks and then you ask them which of these are you going to choose as part of your portfolio, well, if you compare a very fancy mathematical model that tries to choose which are the optimal stocks to pick versus simply choosing those stocks that correspond to companies that you are familiar with or that you recognize, well, guess what? The latter actually performs admirably well. And so there are very interesting reasons as to why we might have evolved these fast and frugal heuristics. So now let's take Justin Trudeau. He's tall. He's supposedly good looking. I say supposedly because, in my view, he's good looking in a way that Justin Bieber is good looking, right? He's a pretty boy, right? He certainly, in my view, doesn't exude uh, these traits of manliness and dominance, but he certainly would be a nice front man for a boy band. And so in that sense, he's very cute, and he makes the 14-year-old girls swoon. So he's attractive, he has nice hair, he's tall, he's recognized. He's recognized because of his father's name. Pierre Elliott Trudeau was a very famous politician who is perhaps one of the most known prime ministers that Canada has ever had. And so if Trudeau's name had been Rosenberg or Ahmed, he probably would not have been elected. And so there is a real important value in having that name. Justin Trudeau, prior to entering office, could not have been any less accomplished. If anybody listens to him speak, it is truly difficult to imagine somebody who is less intellectually competent or sophisticated or worldly. But he is fortunate enough to have height, to have nice hair, to be attractive, and to have a father with a famous family name. Put all those together, read my chapter from 2003, and I could have told you exactly who would have won the Canadian elections. It's sad. Democracy is tricky in that way, in that everybody has the same vote. Not everyone necessarily puts the same effort into the vote. Now, just before I end this clip, I've listened or read the comments on my personal Facebook page. Oftentimes, very, very sophisticated, educated people were weighing in on the election, prior to the election and after Justin Trudeau won. And it's simply baffling, the things that I read. It was perfectly in line with everything that I've said in this clip. Oh my goodness, he's so cute, he's so hot, we have the hottest prime minister, he's so charismatic, look at that hair. Now this is from people who are in their 50s and their 60s and their 40s. These are people who are educated, sophisticated, right? They didn't break down what his immigration policies were, or his economic policies, or how he viewed the rights of minorities around the world. He's just hot. He's sexy. He's not like that Nazi Harper, right? So again, cognitive misers who find shortcuts to make choices that somehow feel good. It's not a good way to make very, very important decisions, such as who will lead our country forward, but regrettably, it is part of human nature to be, at times, cognitively lazy. So there you go, people. A breakdown of how pretty boy Justin Trudeau has come to power. Have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you soon. Ciao.